Okay, Siksika, and welcome to the spooky midnight hour. We're joined here by Marcus Smith and Edna Manyheads, and I'm Shilo Clark, and we're here to give you the fright of the night with a few spooky stories, some of which have come in from our listeners, and some are stories that we personally have. Marcus, Edna, if you would like to introduce yourself, feel free. And then we can get right into the spooky stories.
Okay, Siksika. My name's Edna Manyheads, and I'm the admin specialist for media and communications. And I wanted to team up this Halloween with Shilo and Marcus because I love hearing ghost stories and I love telling ghost stories. And you know, what better way to get into the Halloween spirit than to just sit back and just enjoy being scared and creeped out.
Okay, my name is Marcus Smith. I'm a media specialist here at Siksika Media, and I've just recently joined. This is my first Halloween with media, and it's getting very spooky here today for for Halloween. And yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be a good segment here.
I think so. I'm excited too. So we're sort of doing this, of course, in a podcast sort of fashion, because we think that this is the most exciting way to kind of get deep into some of these stories. So should we just get started? I have a creepy story that comes from my grandmother, and this happened on our family territory, I guess, family land, the old family cabin, and we call it Obomox. And so this was when my grandma was very young, and they're at the family cabin, and there's some trees there that separate the family cabin from the river. So they're going out for a walk, they're walking through the trees, and they eventually get to the river. And they said on the other side of the river, they saw these three figures. One really big, one slightly shorter, and one very small, almost childlike. And they were furry from head to toe, completely furry. And they started walking towards the river, and they came down the ridge. They went into the river, walked straight into it like it didn't bother them, until it went right over their heads, and they were gone.
They just got engulfed into the river itself.
I guess so.
Whoa.
Don't know where they went. They didn't come back up, and so, you know, we hear these stories all the time about, you know, water spirits and water people, and, you know, just kind of
Sounds like a Bigfoot family as well.
Yeah, I was
Totally.
gonna say it sounds like a family.
right? And so that's kind of what my grandma observed as well was, yeah, you've got a father, a mother, and then the baby. And if memory serves me correctly, I think they actually said that the little one was on the shoulders of the big one. So like a very much family looking kind of stance and, you know, way to be. And but yeah, that one just always sort of stuck with me, and I think about it, well, not just every Halloween. I just think about it every time I'm by the river, to be honest.
That's actually kind of creepy, because like imagine seeing a family on the other side of the river, but you can only see the size. Like, oh, I see a child. I
Right.
see probably the dad and the wife. And that's very creepy.
And it's one of these things where it's like they were just out in daylight, like out in the open. It's not like,
Oh, this is in the daylight.
yeah, this wasn't at
Oh,
night.
whoa.
Yeah, because my grandma was just a little girl.
That
and
sounds a little more creepy, honestly.
It is, you know, the fact that they could see them right there. It's like, I mean, there's no cameras there. They didn't have video cameras or anything to capture that. So, you know, you just have to go off the story. But that's an enduring story that has, you know, we've told it throughout our family, you know, ever since it happened. So, yeah. And then another one that also happened at Obomox. These are my uncles. Again, they were young. I have to say, like, you know, probably like middle school age, maybe like 11, 10, that kind of age. And same thing, they were playing in the bushes, they were playing in the trees by the cabin there, and all of a sudden they heard a baby crying. They heard a baby crying, and that immediately scared them. but they were also kind of looking for where this baby's cry was coming from.
Never know if it's real or not.
Right? And then they said out of this like bramble of bushes, these two little people came out, and their noses were pig-like. They were up like this. Yeah, they looked like little pig noses.
Oh, they were like pointing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, that's...
You know, and so, and they were telling my uncles, come with us. We want to show you something. Come with us over here. And that spooked them. So they took off. They just took right off because they're like, not going to deal with this. And we're going to tell the adults. So they did. And when the adults came out later to investigate, they went to these bushes where my uncle said they kind of came out of from this area. And, ooh, spider web. And they, behind those bushes, the grass was all flattened. Like people had been sitting there for some time, had been...
Oh, like there was life around there.
There was something there because the grass was totally flattened. Like people had been sitting there. And again, these are stories that we hear, not even just in our culture, but other cultures across the globe of little people. You know, the Irish call them leprechauns. You know, we call them little people. But I mean, there's stories of
like Mexico, they call them duendes, and like in Berlin, they call them like elves or gnomes.
There's a lot of different names.
Yeah. But for something that we all experience, which I think is very fascinating, and for people to think the supernatural is fake, how come all these cultures can corroborate?
That's exactly like how I feel about it too. Like especially like mermaids and like Ogopogo, things of that sort, and like the Yeti, they say that's like could be in like Russia and like Alaska and things like that. And the Yeti is not like that different from a Bigfoot, and so
right,
like
you got grizzly bears and you got polar bears. You got Bigfoot, you got Yeti.
Yeah, like I just feel like there always has to be some sort of truth when it comes to those. Yeah, because why would all these people around the world have the same or similar experiences? Like
exactly.
It's not like they could communicate back then as, you know, to make something up like that.
Right? Ooh, spooky stuff. Spooky stuff. Well, do you folks have anything spooky?
I have one that kind of it popped into my head as you were telling your stories, like just in regards to like the river and things like that. This story is from late Miss Bad Boy. This was like years ago, and she was babysitting a couple of little ones, and so they went to the river for the day, and she was telling them like not to go in too deep or anything like that, like stay at the shore, because it was like late spring kind of, but back when, you know, the river, it gets really like mucky and muddy, and it's not as clear, and you know, so she was telling them like to stay along the shoreline, not to go into the river too far or anything like that. And they were there for a couple of hours, and those kids, they ended up going into the river, like near the muddy part, and like she wouldn't tell them why not to go in the river, just, you know, to listen and stay close. And so she was picking some berries along the tree line.
Right.
And then around, I would say like it wasn't late evening, but you know when the sun is almost setting but it's not fully set.
Ooh,
so like
twilight.
Yeah, so it's like
the sky's like orange.
Yeah, it's like orange, and
oh wow,
yeah, and
getting dark.
Yeah.
Time to go home, kind of getting dark. Yeah,
pretty much. And so those kids, they were still swimming in that river, and then Miss Bad Boy realized how far out from the shoreline they were, and so like she started getting after them in Blackfoot. I told you guys to stay over here and get out of that water. And those kids, they were kind of like why is she getting so mad? We just want to swim. And
right.
Here, there was two kids that were kind of out a bit further, and as she was getting after them, they heard her voice like get really frantic and panicked, and she started really, yelling at them, "Get to the shore now!" And she was yelling at them in Blackfoot. And here, what had happened was those two kids that were out further, they kind of looked to the side, and they seen like the top of a face looking at them,
Ooh.
like the eyes, and
Like
it was
right at the wall.
it was peeking up from the river, and like it was looking at them. And then those kids, they got scared and they started all swimming and rushing to the shore. And I guess as they were swimming, that one kid looked back, and they could still hear Miss Bad Boy yelling and all that. And when that thing, it was swimming away, a really big tail came out of the water and it just splashed. And then you just seen like muddy water, just like, how it,
Yeah.
how like when fish, they swim away really fast.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, except
Oh,
it
like
was
the
huge.
ground, like the dust, like just going.
Yeah,
like, that in the
like-
water. Oh wow.
Like it was like a water being or a mermaid or something like that. And that's from that's a story from Miss Bad Boy.
Oh, and this is like the sun's going down and everything.
Hmm.
Oh,
And that's why she was telling them, like, don't go near into the river because it's muddy and all that. And I don't know, the old Blackfoot ways say that mermaids and water people, that's when they really like the river, is when it's really mucky and they're able to be out more, as opposed to when it's clear.
Where everybody can see them.
Yeah.
I've always been told growing up, don't go in the water after dark.
Hmm.
Don't go in the water after dark. When it starts to get dark, you stay out of the water. Get away from the river. And, especially don't be messing around and, getting up to no good around the river, those kinds of things. And I believe in that. I don't want to take anything home. I don't want anything to attach itself to me because I was being bad or something like that, and disrespectful to, the water spirits, water people. Yeah, don't mess around. Don't mess around.
yeah,
Marcus?
Yeah, and then like that's a really good one where you seen a face looking at you, but sometimes you could hear stuff which is really scary. And so I have this one where my mom lives in Stobart. I was out one time with my girlfriend Casey, and we were getting home, and it was pretty late, I'll be honest there. And while we were going inside, and so the other thing too is animals. If animals react to something, especially like dogs, cats, horses, they see something. They say that they could see stuff, right? And that honestly freaks me out, because sometimes I see like my dog looking at something, or a cat and staring at nothing, and I'm like, what are you looking at? Who's visiting us? I say that.
Yeah.
And so when we were getting home, we were going inside, and this is like after midnight, and behind our house there, we just heard a scream, just screech out of nowhere from a random field behind the house.
Yeah.
And there's a road back there, and it's just the community. There's nothing in that field. There's no house. There's like one set of bushes.
Yeah.
But that's about it. And we just heard this, like, some lady, like, just scream.
Wow.
And I'm not talking like just a regular scream. This scream is like in agony.
Oh my gosh.
And like, the thing that freaked us out was that once that scream happened, our neighbors' horses, they just started scrambling and like running around their field, and all what me and Casey could do is just look at each other, and we just ran inside.
Yeah.
And we told my mom what happened. We couldn't even sleep until the sun came up. I think I was up until 7:30 that morning.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and like I was like, they tell you don't look outside at night. They don't
Yeah.
look outside at night. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah. My grandma always said that. Don't look out the window at night. You might see something scary. And I thought she was playing a joke on us because you see your reflection. I thought she was making fun of us. You might see something scary.
Yeah.
Myself?
yeah. Or like they say, like something will mess with your face.
Yeah.
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 And like
Yeah.
there's so many things that tie into that, and that I actually kind of broke the rules that morning. Once the sun started coming up, the sun was coming up, I took a look out, and there was nothing out there. There was nobody in the back. It was a really peaceful night. this wasn't even on a weekend either, so it was a really peaceful night.
Yeah.
At the West End there, it's peaceful, and it's like
Mhm.
nothing like that happens, and it was kind of crazy because Casey, she really likes her scary movies, my girlfriend,
Yeah.
and she was scared. So that's where
Mhm.
I got scared. I was like, whoa, okay, this is real. We just heard that, and with the horses running around, it just added fuel to that scariness, which really terrified us for like a good 4 or 5 hours. We couldn't even sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say, and those kinds of scares, especially when you're with somebody and experiencing it with them as well. We had the same bizarre experience. There's no denying that. There's no refuting that. And the fact that it stuck with both of you for so, like, I would have just cuddled up next to my partner and been like, okay, just close your eyes, hold me, let's try and fall asleep.
Yeah.
But like, it was such and I can't, like, when you hear screaming, like guttural, agonizing screaming, yeah, that shakes you to the core. I can only imagine.
And then like witnessing it with someone else, I don't know why, but it just feels a little more scarier because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I'm not
hallucinating.
Yeah, I'm not going crazy. Like someone else heard that too.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I wish I was hallucinating. That way I could say it's all in your head.
Yeah,
it's all in
really,
your
right?
head, but it's in their head too.
Yeah.
Oh
I'm
no.
not the only one. Yeah.
Yeah, me and my husband, we've heard a lot of things together and we've seen things together. Like, we've been together almost 13 years now, and when I really think about it, we've been spooked a lot. Like, and actually, like, just the other night we were hearing stuff. That was Sunday night. We went to go sit outside and like listen to music in our car, and but before that, we just got home from getting groceries and things like that, and we got the groceries put away, the kids settled and everything, and when I went back outside, though, while bringing in the groceries, I was the only one out there because he was already inside, the kids were already inside, and he was gonna come back out for more stuff, but anyways, I was grabbing some stuff out of the trunk of my car, and then as I was walking into my house, my neighbor from two doors down, I heard like a kid scream, like, and this was about 11:30 at night, and it's really dark where we live. And so when I kind of heard that, I thought, well, maybe that's one of the grandkids next door. Maybe they're visiting. But then I thought, well, maybe they're like fussing and don't want to go to bed. So I just kind of brushed it off, and I went inside, like a kid crying and scream, like. And so I went inside and I brought the groceries back in. And then when we came back out, that's when we sat in our car for a few minutes just listening to music and talking. And then I said, hang on, I'm going to go check on the kids quickly. And then when I was walking back into the house, because our neighbor, he recently passed away in December, nobody lives in his house anymore. And so it's very dark and like nobody's there. And I heard a cough come from his porch, like a man like clearing his throat, not like a full-on like hacking cough or anything, just a real quick, yeah, like that's what I heard. And I kind of looked over there and I was like, huh. And then like in my mind I was thinking, oh well, maybe that was him, just like knowing who he was, and like he would make little coughs like that. And so I just kind of was like, oh. And then when I got back in the car, I looked at Drew and I was like, I think I'm tripping out. And he was like, why? What's going on? And I told him what I heard. I was like, well, I didn't want to tell you, but I heard a kid crying from next door, and I thought maybe that's one of the kids. And then he was like, really? And I was like, and I just finished hearing a cough next door at Fats's house too. And then he was like, oh gee. He's like, well, just try to ignore it. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And so we kind of brushed it off, and we were still like talking and listening to music. And then when I went back inside to use the bathroom, that's when I heard kids playing. Ooh. Like I heard like laughing, like, but it was like still from like 2 doors down. It sounded like it's like, like you can tell like the distance that sound comes from. Yeah. And then that's where I heard it when I first heard that kid crying, and then I heard the kids playing from that same area. And then I told him, let's try drive by that house and see if anyone's outside. And so we did, and there was nobody outside. And so I messaged our cousin who lives there, and then I said, is anybody at grandma's house? And he was like, no, she's at home alone. And I was like, oh, none of the kids are visiting tonight? And he was like, no, we're all in Clooney right now. She's home alone. And I just kind of was like, oh, okay. And he said, why, what's up? And then that's when I told him. I was like, well, I heard a kid crying, and then I heard kids playing, and then I heard a cough come from Fatz's house. And he was like, okay, I'm on my way home. And then he rushed home to check on her, and she was fine. She was like, she didn't even realize that I was hearing that stuff that night.
Okay.
And then when Drew went inside to use the bathroom and he came back out, he was like, I just heard like a voice like muffled, like saying something. And I thought it was the wind. And so that's why I was just standing there trying to listen. But I guess he heard like a voice like mumble, like something, like I don't know how it would sound, but it was same thing. He said it came from like the distance, but there was nobody else outside but us.
Ooh.
That's
And that was
times on Siksika.
that was on Sunday night.
yeah.
Jeez. So like this isn't, oh, this happened like a year or so. No, this happened like a few days ago.
Oh, this is recent.
Yeah, this was Sunday night.
Oh wow.
Because like I said, me and Drew like we don't often hear things, but like every now and then we do get spooked together. Like I think it was maybe 2-3 months ago. We were sitting in our kitchen and he was playing on his PC, and then me, I was beating. And same thing, it was late at night, and I guess I should have closed my curtain because I sit right next to the kitchen window, but like it doesn't bother me. And while we were sitting there, we just heard like a really, really loud tap on the window, like just one quick like.
Oh, like that. Doom.
Yeah, and like that kind of shook me because when I heard that, I just jumped up out of my chair and I wouldn't look at the window, and I hid behind Drew and I was like, what is that? And he looked at the window and he said that there wasn't anything. He was like, hang on, I'm going to go check outside. And then, so he did a walk around our house like 2 times and he said, there's nobody out there. Jeez. And then I was just kind of like, okay, well, let's close the curtain then. So we closed the curtain, and then we were sitting there, and he was like, don't be scared. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not scared. It just shook me because it was, like, right next to my ear and just, like, a really loud tap on the window. Like,
Could it possibly have been a bird?
no.
No.
Because, like, we would have seen it, too.
Fair enough. It
At the
probably.
nighttime too.
Yeah. Why
Yeah.
are they flying around at night? Jeez.
That's like a window, and then you're right beside the window too, and you probably could have seen something in your peripherals.
Yeah,
which
and that's
you
what I
probably
was.
didn't.
That's what I was thinking too. I didn't see anything, but you could like, you know how windows, sometimes you could see like if it gets banged on, you could kind of see the glass like move just a bit, like
like that wiggle.
yeah, like that. That's what I seen, but I didn't see anything at all hit the window. And same with Drew, he didn't see anything, and that's just another time, I guess. And then when we were teenagers, he was visiting me for the weekend at my mom's house. And in my old bedroom, I lived upstairs. And like, you know how thin like the floors are, like the vents, like you could hear into the basement and things like that. And me and him, we were up late. We were just watching movies, and at that time, it was just me, him, and my mom at home because my brother and his wife went to go visit his in-laws for the weekend. So it was just us 3 at home. And then as we were sitting there, I kind of heard like a faint like talking, like voices, and I kind of thought, well, maybe my mom's on the phone with somebody.
Right.
But then she was already in bed, so I thought, well, she likes to sleep early, so I don't think so. And then here, all that time that I was hearing those voices, Drew heard them too, but he just didn't want to say anything to me because like we just didn't want to scare each other, I guess. And when I finally told him, do you hear that? And I just paused the movie, and underneath my room, you could hear through the vent like people talking. Like you could hear
like a group of
like,
people talking.
Yeah, like you could hear like some people talking to each other, but you couldn't make out the words. And I looked at him and I was like, you hear that? And he just looked at me. He was like, yeah. And then I just kind of was like, there's nobody here but us though. And so we got up and we went to the top of my mom's basement stairs. And then we just kind of were standing at the top of the stairs, like listening, like making our ears like go like that. And
Trying to see if it sounds more clear.
yeah, and sure enough, you could hear it a bit more clear.
Ooh.
But it's like as soon as we kind of like were like really trying to listen, it's like it just kind of stopped.
It just cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just looked at him, and I was like, "There's nobody here though." And so we went to my mom's room, and sure enough, she was asleep. And I woke her up, and I told her, "Mom, me and Drew are hearing people like downstairs." And she just looked at me. She was like, "What?" And she was like, "Well, let's go check." And she was never scared of anything. And so she started yelling, "Whoever's in my house, you better get out of here." And we went down there, and there was nobody there. And then the way my mom used to lock her windows, she would put like wooden planks and like double lock it kind of. So like you can't open the window at all unless you move that plank. And
Totally. My mom was the same.
yeah, and like the windows were still all locked, like no sign of anybody down there, and things like that. And
Yeah.
but then again, we did live next door to somebody who held sweats all the time. Like they constantly held sweats, and so whenever they did, we always kind of like heard things or we seen shadows. And I don't know if it's like they were calling stuff and weren't sending them back, or like
Right.
I really don't know. But yeah, we would hear stuff at my mom's house too. We seen a shadow there too, me and Drew, when we were teenagers.
Wow. Got me shaking in my boots.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about it too.
Like, I don't know, like even him too, like I talked to him about it. I'm like, remember that time that we seen that shadow walk by my window? And he just looks at me. I was like, oh yeah. And then there was another time at his house. Well, that's where I currently live now. But he lives like we live along like the canal road near Arrowwood.
Yeah.
And that one night, this was back when we were teenagers too, his Uncle Lee was chasing the cows into the corral. And this was like around 10 at night.
Yeah.
And so his mom and dad told Drew, get in the truck and go help him. And so we were like, okay. And here, as like our house, it has kind of like a loop road with like the houses along them. And then there's the canal road up here.
Right.
And so we pulled out of his parents' house and we were driving along the loop this way. And when our headlights shined on the canal road, we seen someone walking, but it was like a white figure. And then I just looked at him. I was like, did you see that? And he stopped. He was like, I was going to ask you if the same thing. And so we backed up, and then there wasn't even anybody there. And we kind of were like shining the headlights all along the canal. We were like, where did that person go? And
Wow.
and then we asked Lee, his uncle, we were like, is anybody out here chasing the cows with you? He's like, no, I'm by myself. And then we were like, oh, we thought maybe Lyndon or someone was walking along the canal, like helping you or something. And then we kind of thought, well, if he's chasing in the cows on this side, why would anyone be on the canal? But I remember me and him, we both talked about it. We both seen the same white figure.
Wow, eh?
You even took a second look and it wasn't.
Yeah, and it wasn't there. And like the way it was only after a few seconds that we started looking around with like the headlights with the truck, and there was nowhere that person or whatever could have disappeared to.
So quickly too.
Yeah, like
time.
within seconds it was gone. And
Wow.
I was just kind of like, oh.
Well, I think with that, we are going to go to our first break. After we come back, we'll delve into some more stories here. And as I mentioned earlier, we do have some stories from our listeners. You're tuned into CFXX 104.7 FM, and you're here with Edna, Marcus, and Shilo for the spooky midnight hour. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, and good evening. You've tuned into CFXX 104.7 FM, the nation station, and you're hanging out with Marcus, Edna, and Shilo for the Indigenous Midnight Spooktacular. So we've been telling stories, some of them our own personal stories, and some that have happened to friends and family. I have another story that I would like to tell, involving my sister and my stepdad. Now, I myself have actually never really experienced anything spooky or out of the ordinary, but my family has a lot. So there's this one time, me and my sister were out of town. We were with our dad. He came to pick us up. And so it was just my mom and my grandma. They're at home alone. Oh, sorry. I'm telling a totally different story here. Yeah, let's go with the sister-stepdad story. This is a good one. So it's my... Change of gears here. Sorry, folks. So my sister and my stepdad were watching a movie at home, and my mom was a collector of vintage toys. She liked collecting small little vintage toys that she would keep up on the mantle, and one of which was a happy clapping monkey. He had the cymbals, and you would wind him up, and he would clap his cymbals together, and he'd kind of walk around. And so anyways, they're sitting there, and they were watching scary movies, maybe telling scary stories that evening, and one of them, I don't know if it was my sister or my stepdad, pointed at that monkey and said, wouldn't it be crazy if he just started moving? And as soon as they said that, lo and behold, the monkey came to life and started clapping his little...
He started clapping
his cymbals around. And they were like, what the heck? What the heck is going on? Like, we were just joking. Like, oh my goodness.
Literally asked for it, eh?
Right? And then, again, my mom was a big fan of vintage stuff. So on the wall, she had these... They were actually technically board games. They were meant to be board games, but the design and the shape of them were just so funky and unique that my mom ended up putting them in frames and using them as art in the house. Well, they were bouncing off the walls. So from where they're hanging up on the nails, the bottoms of them were kind of just like shaking and bouncing off the wall. And they freaked out. They left the house. I don't think they went back that night. But same thing, my grandma and my mom. We called it the dungeon. It was an unfinished basement, and it smelt of mold. There were mounds of dirt down there. Like, it's an unfinished basement. We called it the dungeon. You had to open a trap door in the laundry room to get down there. Yeah, it was creepy. It was very creepy.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And one time, it was just my mom and my grandma. My family always loved making stovetop popcorn. So my mom and grandma are watching their shows, whether it be Survivor or Big Brother, whatever the flavor was of that night. And my grandma's making popcorn on the stove, and it's loud. You know, she's shaking it, and you can hear it scraping on the element of the stove. So it's pretty loud. And my mom's in the living room, and all of a sudden, from beneath my mom's feet, she hears and feels... Whoa. Oh. Our pumpkin just fell down.
Yeah.
He's a goner. Anyways, feeling that hard knock on the bottom of her feet, and she flipped out. She thought it was my grandma trying to play a prank on her, as if my grandma went to the laundry room, opened the trap door, went down into the unfinished basement, traversed herself over mounds of dirt to be directly under my mom in the living room, and knock on the...
And then even being directly underneath your mom. Yeah.
Right? So, really creepy. Stuff happened in that house all the time. I never experienced anything. Marcus, earlier you were talking about pets and how they can see things. Our cats, whether it was Cosmo, Mojo, Puffin Stuff, JJ, oh my gosh. Didn't matter which cat it was. They would look at one corner of the room, and it was always the same room, always the same corner.
And just stare off.
Not stare.
Oh,
growl.
Oh, we're
that
talking.
Deep guttural growl that cats get.
Yeah.
I guess that sounded more like Marge Simpson than anything else. Anyways, those like really deep guttural growls, and just down low on the bed, just looking in the same spot, and then hissing at whatever it is.
Would their tail just be like
no,
back and forth? Or
they were frightened.
Oh,
like it's not like their backs were arched, like they were ready to attack. They're like, holy cow, there's something up there and I'm scared of it. They were totally subdued.
Oh.
And you know cats are rank little buggers.
Yeah.
You know, if they want to scratch you or slap you, they're going to do it. Our cats, and all of them the same thing. They would just be subdued. They didn't look like they were in attack mode or anything. but they're growling and hissing. And so we would just rub their face and be like, "Stop looking at that! Stop looking at that!" Or "Get out of the room!
Yeah.
Get out of here! You're not welcome in here anymore."
Holy, that, like, like with the pets too, you could, oh my good, all I get is just like when I see like
Hold
animals
on,
scared.
guys.
Oh, we need the pumpkin. Yes,
We need the pumpkin.
we gotta get our pumpkin back. Now that we got our pumpkin back,
We're going to take another short break due to technical difficulties, but we will be right back with you. Once again, you're listening to CFXX 104.7 FM, the nation station, hanging out with Shilo, Edna, and Marcus on the Midnight Spooktacular. Is that what I called it?
oh yes.
We'll be right back, folks.
All right, and yeah, going back over to like with animals, I myself like Shiloh, like I've never seen a cat look into an empty corner and just like be angry.
Be freaked out, yeah. Angry, freaked out, and it's like, what are you looking at? What is causing this reaction in you, cat?
Yeah, like there has to be a reason, something, hey? But we can't see it. That's just one of the world's greatest mysteries right there.
Yeah. I find it interesting. I wonder, because they always mention how like ghosts and things like that make the environment colder, right?
Oh yeah.
Snakes, they can see in infrared. So I wonder if snakes can detect ghosts. I wonder if we studied snakes. Sounds ridiculous. But if we studied snakes in a haunted house, would the snake react differently? I don't know.
That's a good one.
I just thought that was interesting. Because, of course, we're going to observe our cats and dogs having this kind of behavior because we live with them. You know, they're a part of our family. We see them every day.
But if you got a pet snake,
I wonder if there's any pet snake owners out there. Did your snake do anything weird in the presence of supernatural things? Let us know.
oh yes.
Check us out on Facebook, Siksika Media.
Predator vision.
Predator vision.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, tag us under Predator Vision. Story of our snake who can see ghosts. I think now would be a good time to actually tell a story from one of our listeners. This was submitted to us, again, by one of our listeners. And I have to say, when I first saw it, it certainly gave me the heebie-jeebies. While I'm looking for it, do you folks have any other spooky stories?
I have one similar to the Castle Mountain one that you're gonna tell.
Yes.
But I'll wait till after you tell it.
Okay, so I've just pulled it up, and I'm sure everybody is aware of course, Castle Mountain, where we kind of harvest our teepee poles and things like that, and I'm sure that place has quite the significance.
The Blackfoot winter camps.
Blackfoot winter camps, nice, yeah.
Oh yes.
So, this is a story from one of our listeners. I'm just going to read it as they sent it to us. So, sit back, relax, and get ready to be spooked out. Okay, it goes. I have a scary true story about Castle Mountain. It was almost 20 years ago. I went on a camping trip with my first summer job, and we went to Castle Mountain with a whole bunch of other Siksika people. I think we were there for 3 days, and on our last day, the older kids, who were like 14 and so, got to sit up and tell ghost stories with all the adults that were there. All the younger kids had to go to sleep, and they were all sleeping in the main teepee that was there. So we were all telling ghost stories, good enough to get us a little freaked out, and then all of a sudden, we heard a girl screaming. The chaperones that were with us just looked at each other at first, and they were smiling, because we all thought it was the older kids trying to scare us. But the screaming continued, and then it became crying at the same time, and the chaperones jumped up and went running. We all got really scared, and after that, some of the kids were crying, even some of us younger teens. It was so dark, so no one knew what was going on. We just stayed by the fire, looking around towards all the tents and the scary dark tree line. Out of nowhere, one of the chaperones came running from the tree line carrying a young girl, and he brings her to the camper where the elders were sleeping. She told them that the old lady carried her out of the teepee and was walking towards the trees with her. She thought it was, so basically what's going on here is she told them at first there was an old lady that carried her out of the teepee and was walking towards the trees with her.
Like a completely random old lady.
Yeah. And she thought it was one of the elders that were there, but when she looked up at the old lady's face, she had no face.
Oh.
While she was crying, she looked up at the old lady's face while she was crying, and she had no face. She immediately started screaming, and the lady dropped her, and she screamed while she watched the faceless old lady walk back into the trees. There was an electric fence there, but she walked right through it, and from what the little girl said, that's from what the little girl said. After the girl calmed down and the elders all prayed, we got sent to bed, still really scared, even after smudging and getting prayed over. I was able to sleep eventually, and when I woke up, it was time for everyone to pack up their camps and get ready to go to the buses to come pick us up. On our way home, we found out that some of the kids who went there were taking down offerings from the trees. And I think one of the old spirits were trying to teach the kids a lesson not to touch these offerings that are tied to the trees around there. It was the first and last time I've ever camped at Castle Mountain. Anyways, it was a true experience, and I hope I remembered it well because there were other Siksika people that were there, and they probably remember it better than I do. I was only 14 when it happened. Ooh, what do you think of that?
Holy, there is a pretty good fence that protects that area too. Like I've stayed there in the summer of 2019. It's a beautiful area during the day. The grass is thick and everything. There's a forest there.
Yeah.
There's the big teepee. And at night, it gets really dark there. And like imagining that is, I kind of put myself in that position, imagining if it happened in that time when I was there, it probably would be sticking with me to this day, especially the no face thing.
Yeah. That's something too that I've heard a lot when it comes to supernatural stories. And again, not just amongst us Siksika, but again, all sorts of cultures, you hear stories of faceless beings.
Yeah.
And that's, that would traumatize me.
Yeah,
That is something, right? And clearly, this person hasn't forgotten it either. You know, it happened some time ago when they were just a teenager, and it stuck with them all these years. And I'm sure everybody that was there that time too, it's probably stuck with them. And again, it's one of those collective hauntings are really weird because how can all of these people, 17, 18 people, all have the same story that corroborate, you know what I mean? It's then you have to say to yourself, I'm not hallucinating. I'm not going crazy. I experienced this. They experienced the exact same thing. And,
that ride home must have been very interesting.
Yeah, probably very quiet.
Yeah, very quiet. I'd probably be like, do you guys think this will stick with you? Like, I'll be
right?
like that. Like, holy.
I would be really scared going home. Something's like attached to me.
Yeah, best thing to say out of that is let the offerings stay offerings. Don't touch anything tied to the trees.
That's what they're there for.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, leave things where you found them.
Oh yeah, but anyways, I remember Edna, you had something to say about that, something related to the
like something similar to that story. This one is like kind of like an older legend from the Cree people, and what had happened was there was about 6 or 8 men in a teepee, and they were keeping the fire going all night, and they kind of heard like a woman crying in the distance outside the teepee, kind of like from afar, and they're all just kind of saying like, oh, don't let it bother you, just ignore it, it'll go away, we're safe in here, and things like that. And I guess over time they noticed that that crying was getting closer, like louder to their teepee.
Ooh.
And then so they were all just sitting there, and then once one of them started praying, like, just let us be, and don't, we won't bother you, and like don't bother us, things like that. And here, I guess they could hear that crying like right outside the teepee. It was like really loud at that point. And next thing, they seen something like trying to open up their teepee flap, and it managed to open it.
Yeah.
And what walked in was an old woman, and she looked really like tattered and worn down, like really messy gray hair, and
Just disheveled.
she had no eyes, and she had no teeth.
Oh.
And when she walked in, those men, they got scared, and a few of them stayed on one side, the further side of the teepee. But two of those guys, they were like trying really hard not to be bothered by her. And so one of those guys, he grabbed some tobacco, and he went up to her and he gave it to her in front of her. And then the other guy, he grabbed some of that food they were eating and he put it in front of her. And so those two guys were just kind of watching her, and those other ones, they were staying on the other side, like not wanting to go near her. And I guess she was eating, but she was crying at the same time. And then when she was done eating, she was sitting there for a bit. And then next thing, she looked up and she stared at all of them. Like she stared at each of them for a few seconds, just kind of like memorizing their face, I guess. And what had happened was, I guess all of those men, they either got really sick or they passed away, except for those two that gave her offerings.
Wow. Whoa, that gave me chills. That seriously gave me chills.
Holy, and then like no teeth,
Yeah,
and no
she had
eyes.
no teeth and no eyes. And she looked really like
And-
really like, they couldn't describe how, like, really messy hair, like, I don't know.
Just like rough looking.
Yeah.
And she came into the teeth.
Yeah, she came
like,
into
for
the...
lack of a better term, kind of looked like a witch.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
She walked into the teepee, and then same thing. When she was done staring at them, she got up, and then she walked out of the teepee, and she closed that flap. And then one of them, when they looked outside, it's like she was gone. Like she was gone. She disappeared.
Whew.
Holy, that's I was actually like thinking like, wait, like it's like no eyes, no teeth, and then I wonder how that would look with that
Like-
rough look.
Like, and her,
holy.
like, she was really wrinkled too. And
Wow,
Like-
hey? I'm speechless with that one, actually. No, and if those out there who know me, I'm rarely speechless. Yeah, that was a good one, Edna. Thank you.
Yeah, that one kind of gave me a little bit of goosebumps. So I'm not gonna lie there.
Well, we're back. You're listening to the spooky midnight hour with Marcus, Edna, and Shilo here. We were just talking about Bigfoot and, sort of the collective experiences people have had across the globe. And Marcus, you were saying something about our furry friend.
Our furry friend there, yes. I guess one thing that struck my mind is that when he's around, I guess like was something that I grew up getting told is when he's out and around is that stench.
Mm-hmm.
That stench starts to linger around in the area. And what I used to hear back in Little Chicago there is that the dogs sometimes they would run underneath the house or the porch and just hide. And it always happened when that smell started to occur. And so like the animals, even they knew.
Even they knew, yeah.
Even they knew that about the big man out in the forest there, the goat himself. And like, holy, he's around.
Yeah. Wow. Well, do you have a story that you wanted to tell, or Edna, did you have anything that you want to touch on in terms of Bigfoot?
Mm, yeah, actually, I'll tell that story about um when they're in that teepee, and then this story it comes from the coastal natives in like BC,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
and what had happened was they were having like there were some families that were in this big teepee, and they were having like some kind of like all night ceremony, and one of those songs that they have, when the men are singing it, they're not supposed to stop like whatsoever, because it's like it kind of calls on spirits, and so they started singing that song, and some of them had their eyes closed, and there was this one guy that was singing. When he opened his eyes and he was looking at the man across from him that was singing, he noticed that he had like a really scared look on his face, and he was like looking up the teepee, and
This is like all in the teepee. They're all singing.
yeah,
in
they're
the
all
teepee.
sitting in the teepee around that fire, and they're all singing, and yeah, apparently you're not supposed to stop singing that song once you've started, and yeah, he noticed the guy across from him had like a really scared look on his face, and he was looking up at the teepee where it opens up,
Yeah.
and so while he was also singing, he decided to look at what he was looking at, and there was a Bigfoot like peeking in at them, watching them,
Holy.
and then
Like in the ears, like where they have the ears
yeah,
open.
like they
pretty.
could see like a Bigfoot looking at them.
And that's these
And-
teepees are tall.
Yeah, and I don't know, I guess they just finished up that song, and then they heard like really big heavy footsteps just kind of walking away. So like
Right
I guess he
outside
was
the
just I guess he was just kind of curious about what they were doing.
I find that really interesting too, because I mean, perhaps they're more afraid of us than we are of them.
that could be very
Mhm.
true.
That's what I think sometimes. And this one just happened to be curious. They just want to be left alone.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's a good one. Because it's not necessarily scary or anything like
Mhm.
that. It's just more like, whoa.
The fact that he was right there.
Yeah, it's like,
Mhm.
that just happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. No, very cool.
But then I've also heard about him that he is kind of curious, like, and people that have seen him, like even like in Axe Flats or Little Chicago, um,
Oh, some
Like
curiosity.
like he'll like look in windows and stuff.
Ooh, I don't want to be looking out my window and
There-
seeing Bigfoot peering in back at me.
There was this lady that used to live in Chicago. Her name is Tina Redgun. She's been gone for a few years now, but she used to have a lot of Bigfoot stories because
Wow.
she lives like right along the tree line.
Wow, hey.
Mhm.
The river right there too.
Yeah.
It's almost like a common occurrence,
Mhm.
in a sense. And that's another interesting thing too, because what if you do live in an area like, say, in the woods, the dense woods, and who's to say that your neighbor isn't a Bigfoot and they're just used to you being there, and it's like, yeah, I know Bigfoot exists. He comes around my house all the time.
Mhm.
There's signs too, like it goes back to those footprints and everything, and then the smell and things like that. And you never know if he's.
I've
just
seen
out
some
there.
footprints too.
Oh,
Like
really?
when I used to work at BCHP in 2019, me and my coworker at the time, Smith Wright, he was a post-secondary summer student at that time, and I was part of the Meaningful Futures program over there. And I remember that one morning when we got into work, we noticed the kitchen crew, they were just really like frantic and talking, saying, yeah, we heard like a yelling or something near the river, like near
Okay.
Porrigo Flats, and
Yeah.
and so they, I guess when they went to go check, there was some fresh footprints in the mud along the river, and so during lunch, Smith said, "You want to go look for those footprints?" And I was like, yeah, let's go. So I was kind of like,
he's long gone now.
yeah, I was kind of iffy about it, but then I thought, well, I really want to see them. So
Yeah, just seeing them. Hey?
yeah, so we went out there, and sure enough, like, I can't remember how big his feet are, like, but anyway, he put his foot next to those footprints, and those footprints were like huge,
Wow.
and you could see like the outlines of his toes.
Yeah.
Those pictures online too, they're day and night compared to like our foot, like my foot probably like this big.
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
my
it's
hand.
like really small, and then
And then
his
it's
is
like- it's like 2 hands. It's
Yeah.
like it's insane.
I don't know. There's too much evidence out there for Bigfoot not to be real. Too many people have seen him. We've all had these collective experiences. His smell, footprints, even just seeing him, sounds. Like, I'm sure he probably sounds like if he was to do a yell, like, I'm sure it would sound very...
Oh, it actually sounds very loud.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a really long, loud, like kind of like just a constant roar.
Wow, eh?
But then I also hear that he makes like whooping sounds.
Oh, really?
Like
Yeah,
he'll
that's
be
true.
like hiding in the tree, and you'll hear him like making those whooping noises or something.
Jeez.
That reminds
Entertain
me.
our audience, Edna. What do these whooping sounds sound like?
I can actually touch on that. That's actually that's actually true. It's like when I used to stay at my late grandma's in South Camp.
Yeah.
I used to visit a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I would get told to make sure you always come in when the sun's going down, the lights are turning on the back roads, stuff like that. Like night lights are starting to turn on, and that one night I didn't go in.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed out for like an extra hour. The sun wasn't completely down, but it wasn't showing in the sky anymore.
Right.
It was still orange out.
Oh yeah.
I did hear some type of like whooping
Mm-hmm.
from the river,
Yeah.
and this is just down the hill from the Crowfoot Cemetery where
Mhm.
my late grandma used to stay. And you go across that field, and the river is just over there past those trees.
Yeah.
And it sounded like a dinosaur to me, like not like it sounded like someone going woo, like actually like literally
Mhm.
whooping.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny. It's like exactly what the sound you made,
Yeah, okay.
but like more like
I'm the Sasquatch whisperer. Oh, no.
you could probably call him. But like it sounds like it's actually like it's true. He does whoop. I've heard it before.
Mhm.
It's not saying like I heard him himself. I was pretty young,
Yeah.
but I did hear something like that coming from the trees in South Camp on the east side of the reserve there.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, hey.
So yeah, it's true. Yeah, I think it's true. Mine
Mm.
personally.
No, me too. I mean, again, like I said, there's too much evidence out there. There's too much
Yeah.
collective experience for it not to be true. And maybe he's just, another type of primate that is just really endangered species kind of thing,
Mhm.
and I don't know, maybe there was a day where people coexisted with Bigfoot, with Sasquatch, and maybe not necessarily coexisted, but like understood that each other were there
Mm-hmm.
and respected those boundaries.
I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I believe that 100%.
Yeah, I do too, because I remember my late father-in-law told me this other story where how does it go again? He said that there was like a Bigfoot family that like lived in the trees, like far into the trees, and they would how does it go again? There was a little girl in that story, but I guess the Bigfoot people, or not people, but the Sasquatches.
The Bigfoot people.
they were like, they had like a bond with her, like they were like comfortable with her, and
Okay.
because like she would bring them food. She would go out there when she would play on her own, and she would bring them food, and so they never bothered her. But like everybody else, they didn't want to be bothered by anybody, and
Interesting.
Oh, that's kind of
Yeah.
like offering the food. It's almost like we're here, but you're giving us something, so we know that you're cool with us, so we're gonna be cool with you, type of thing. Like,
Totally.
it could have been like that. Like,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah, I can't remember how that story fully goes. She told me that a few times, but that's what I remember, is that little girl would bring them food, and they had like a sort of like a bond with her.
That's really interesting.
And so like they just kind of let her be, and they never let any animal harm her or whatever when she wanted to just run around the woods, I guess.
Wow, hey. Well, gee, I think with that we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we are going to share another story that came from one of our listeners, and this one will have you shaking in your boots, so stay tuned. Alrighty, folks, and we're back. You're listening to the Midnight Hour Spooktacular with Edna, Marcus, and Shilo here. And I think next we're going to share one of our spooky stories that came in from one of our listeners. Marcus, I believe you have that, hey?
Oh yes, I have something very, very interesting here. It actually involves traveling to those really far hockey games in
you're all too familiar with that.
Haven't been with the Buffaloes for a few years. You come back really late sometimes. Let's say if you're playing in Lethbridge, you're gonna be home probably midnight, close to 1.
That's what Drew was telling me. Well, sorry to get off topic, but that's what Drew told me one time. Because we went to a sportsplex and they were playing really late. I was like, they're still playing? He was like, yeah, they can play till like midnight. And I was like,
like sometimes they'll drop the puck at like latest 8:30. Can't English right now. But yeah, like anyways, so we have an anonymous story here that was sent in regards to the hockey there. So on a Saturday in early 2007, my daughter, my niece, and I went down to Kainai to watch a Ranchland Senior A hockey game. Now, we took our time coming back and decided to go through the shortcut from Vulcan to Arrowwood. And the old back gravel road, that gravel road, there's the new road that goes towards Moss Sleigh now. And you could take that brand new pavement road. But everybody, if you've gone through that back road, there's that one back road that goes straight from Arrowwood to Vulcan. Yeah,
okay.
If you just
if
keep
you know,
going.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, if you know, you know. Yeah. And so they were taking their time coming back, and it was a little after 1 a.m. and we came down a hill where there were no houses, just power poles and open fields. There were no other vehicles on the road or any lights in the fields. There were a lot of stars in the sky. It wasn't a really dark night where we're all talking and keeping an eye out for deer, just like anybody would driving late. Always look out for deer, as you're told by your parents, grandparents, anybody. So I was driving and happened to look up and notice something white sort of floating just above the field. It looked kind of big, and the white fabric sort of billowed in the wind from the movement of it floating. I slowed down and told my niece and daughter, "Do you see that up there? What the heck is that?" I finally stopped on the road, and in front of us, above the field on the left side of the road, it looked like it was slowly floating and moving east. We just sat there and watched it. It kind of looked like an angel. And it just slowly floated over the road, over the power lines, and toward the field on the right side of the road. And so this is all on that range road that I think it's called a range road. I forgot the exact number. But this is a back road.
But you can't miss it. Like once you're turning to Mosley around that bend, it's like right there.
And this is one of those back roads where there's like no lights on it. There's no gas station. This is just
It's a back road.
You're going through the prairie.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
And as the story goes, we were the only vehicle on the road that night. So I backed up so my lights faced that side of the road on the right side where it floated to.
Right.
At the same time, my niece grabbed her small digital camera and was trying to take some pictures. I switched to high beam and my lights went directly onto it, and it stopped and sort of turned halfway around. Whatever it was, we couldn't see a face. It was black underneath, the white veil covering, and we just saw two scary looking bright green eyes.
Jeez.
I got chills down my spine and
So did
sort
I.
of froze. That's, whoa, holy.
Yeah.
To me, it felt like whatever it was, I made it mad. My niece and daughter were saying, "Go! Hurry up! Just go!" So I put my car in drive and took off. For the rest of the drive, we were all just quiet until we got near the power plant. Finally, I said, "What the heck was that?" The three of us couldn't explain what we just saw. We all had the same description but had no clue what it was. I said, "Whatever it was scared the heck out of me. It looked so beautiful at first until I put my high beams on it." I told them I prayed all the way that whatever it was wouldn't follow us home. The next day, my niece checked her camera and the pictures she took were just blank.
Dang.
Nothing showed up on the picture. Not the lights from the sky, my car, or the light from the stars in the sky. Nothing showed up on the picture. Just a blank, like they didn't even see nothing.
Jeez.
It took me a long time to drive on that back road again during the day,
During the day.
and I will not drive on that at night ever again. That's my creepy, scary story. This incident really creeped us out for a long time, and I hope you enjoyed reading it, which I think I did because I am kind of, I got some goosebumps right now.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it. And green eyes, hey?
You never hear that too?
No, you don't.
You
No,
hear
it's
red
always red
eyes.
eyes, or like just white eyes. Two little white eyes, but green.
That's a whole
fascinating.
That's a whole different league right there.
And it's wild too because at first they were sort of enthralled by it. Like, what is this thing? And at first she
Like, it looked
mentions
beautiful.
beautiful, like an angel.
Yeah.
I could imagine it like looking beautiful because of the white covering and like it like an angel, right?
Yeah.
But once you put the lights on it, they only know how they felt in that moment when they seen what they saw.
Yeah.
Because if you see something go from beautiful to scary, that's a crazy change.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And again, these stories too, like you hear these stories and you're kind of like, "Oh yeah, that was creepy." But these people lived that experience, and as a result, they won't drive on that road at night.
Even on the daytime.
Like that traumatic that it's like, yeah, this is real. This affected us. We don't drive on that road at night, and it took a long time to get on to it during the day. Like that's, and then for any of us, it's like, well, whatever. It's just the range road.
Just another road.
Just another road. But for them, it's like, yeah, that's where that incident happened, and I'm not going that way because I don't want that to happen again. What's around that area that might, I don't know, like
Nothing.
There's
it's
nothing.
it's honestly it's just a straight gravel road. There's a couple like off roads going that way, and then in the distance it's just farms and hills. Just completely nothing until you get to Vulcan.
There's like a plant and maybe some wells, but other
Yeah,
than
but-
the oil field work that happens around there, there's
Nothing.
There's
nothing
no-
out there.
There's not even no lampposts or anything out there.
Holy.
It's like completely pitch dark when you go out that way.
huh?
Yeah.
The only light that you see around there is just from the farmhouses, but again, because of how far apart they are on the land, it's
They're just little specks.
and those hills are massive out there.
Yeah. I wonder, like, if there was some sort of, like, way back in the day before colonization and stuff like that, and our ancestors, if there was if they did stuff there, if maybe they held ceremony out there, or
That's what I would assume, because the last time that me and Drew were driving home from Vulcan, and we always take that road, that same one that they're talking about.
And this is that back road.
Yeah.
This is not that pavement that everybody takes from like Mosley to Vulcan. That shortcut after taking the road from Arrowwood. This is that back road straight to Vulcan. Hey.
Yeah, and like I was just kind of staring out at the hills, and then he was asking me, what's wrong? And I said, oh, nothing. I'm just looking at all these hills. I'm just trying to picture it like without any of these farms or anything like that. Like I'm trying to picture how it would have looked like back when we were still roaming amongst these lands. And he just kind of was like, he just took a deep breath and he was like, I know, right? I think about that a lot when we drive through here. And because those hills, they're like
It's
massive.
really nice around
and
there.
yeah, and they're green. It's like, it's a really like nice place, but like I honestly wouldn't doubt that something would be lingering there.
Yeah.
Something lost to history.
Yeah, something lost to history and time, but exists now on another plane. And what do we think about that whole idea that ghosts are just beings on a different plane of reality than us? I've always found that sort of fascinating.
The thought of it is amazing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the sense of like, okay, so if you see one of your family members as a ghost, I don't know. I've just always thought that kind of fascinating. And it's like, if I saw a family member as a ghost, I wouldn't want to think of it being like, oh, you're on a different plane of existence. I'd want to be like, you're visiting me from heaven. You know, I don't like the whole idea of like trying to break it down scientifically of,
Yeah.
you know, what are these specters or whatever it is you want to call that we see. You know, just let it be, I suppose.
But then I've heard about that too, where like sometimes some spirits, they just get stuck where like they lost their life.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
they're
like
they're
something-
just kind of they're stuck in that point in time where it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that sometimes well, I mean, I know it's kind of like a sad topic, but there's a few people that have lost their lives along 901, and
Yeah.
there have been incidents where people have been driving that road at night and they see them,
Right.
but they've been gone for so long. And like I don't know, I know a few people that have seen some spirits of like people that have passed on along that road, and like they were just kind of like they were shocked. They didn't know how to process it.
You know,
you
And
can't
to me
really-
it just kind
yeah.
of to me it just kind of almost reminds me of that movie Susie Salmon, I think it's called The Lovely Bones.
Oh yes.
That, yeah, when she runs into her house and it's all dark and cold,
Yeah.
but yet at that same time that she's in her house, her family is there, but they're in their reality where the house
Right.
is still like bright and warm, and like they're all talking and things like that, and she can kind of hear their voices, but like to her where she's stuck, it's like scary, like dark and cold.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Kind of reminded me a little bit of a story here from my friend that I forget where they were traveling, but it was a road trip they were on, and he's always the driver. He always has to drive. People always get him to be the driver. And this is late at night, and he's with a bunch of his friends. They're in the back, somebody in the passenger seat. So it's a full vehicle, and they're driving at night. And he said, I think he passed a certain place that had some sort of like reputation of being kind of haunted or whatnot. And he said when they passed by this place, in his peripheral vision, a face appeared in the window. And they're driving. So how can there just be a face floating there in the window? And he's like, it took every ounce of strength not to turn and look at it. He's like, I don't know what would happen if we looked at it. Might have been one of those instances where, you know, you just hear about a car crash that happened and, you know, everybody passed away. And it's like, but how did this happen? Like, what if it was something like that? Which kind of brings me to my next point. Spirits that can be harmful. Have you ever had any experience or know anybody that had experience where they were like, not even necessarily harmful, but when they cross over the line of being just a ghost to being almost a physical manifestation, being touched or being breathed on, or I mean, heaven forbid, but getting slapped by a ghost. I mean, I think of the Bell Witch and that story of how that family was haunted, and it's like, ooh, when ghosts become physical.
Yeah, they could get pretty, like, they're strong too. That's the scary part. I think that's the most scary part about it, when they get physical like that. Like, they could, like, there's videos of like a shelf get it thrown across the room
Yeah.
or something like that, or just something easily getting moved.
There's this
yeah.
video online. It's I forget what country it's in. It might be the Philippines. But it's a news story about this little boy who has a ghost that is a poltergeist and attacks him. I guess is the best way of putting it. And so they're talking about the story, and like they believe in a lot of that stuff over there, and it was just so weird that it gave me chills down my spine because I'm like, that looked really, really real, and I don't know how you would fake it. So they're interviewing the little boy, and then next thing you know,
I think I seen that. Yeah, I seen that one.
He either gets like pulled by his leg by
Yeah.
something, or it's his arm and he's being pulled,
Mhm.
and he just starts screaming and crying, and then whatever it is lets go, and he just runs back to his parents. But it's like, how do you fake that?
Yeah.
It was so creepy and so
I'm getting goosebumps
really.
right now.
I know when I first saw that video, I'm like major goosebumps right down my spine, throughout my entire body. Like I'm like, whoa. And I think the reason why I reacted like that was because maybe it is real. And anything else you can, our minds are good enough at being able to discern what's fake and what's real. Well, with AI, this new AI, sometimes I don't know, but anyways, just the unnatural movement of it all, the way he was pulled was just
Like he got yanked.
yeah, and it was really creepy.
There's a video out there for anyone who wants to see it. It just you just gotta look it up as it is. A little boy interviewed about a ghost gets pulled or something like that. It's a very creepy video. I didn't even know what you're talking about until you said that he got pulled, and it's like, oh wait a minute, I seen that.
Yeah.
And it's actually really creepy.
It's been around for a while. Again, another thing too that makes it seem more real. It can't be AI because this video hit the internet before AI was
Before
even-
ChatGPT was a thing.
Exactly, right? So, you know, and people could say, "Oh, they just put fishing line on him."
Yeah.
And it's like maybe, but
With the right perfect editor, then it's possible.
Like I don't see why they would do that.
Yes.
Because again, it doesn't look like they're a family that's trying to get attention. You know, they don't look like they're not influencers or anything like that. But yeah, I just thought it was creepy. I think with that we should take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll have some more spooky stories for you. Yeah, stay tuned. Good evening, folks, and welcome back to the Midnight Spooktacular. I've been very inconsistent with the name other than Spooktacular. I think that's the only thing that is stuck when it comes to the name of this little podcast we're doing here.
It's perfect, though.
It's perfect, good. I'm glad. I hope everybody out there enjoys the name. It's the best I could come up with. Okay, so we're going to share another story that was sent in to us by one of our listeners. This one's short and sweet, but creepy nonetheless. So it goes, I was spooked at Washington Community Center after a wake/funeral service. I closed the center for 3 days, so when I went back, there was a doll just sitting in the middle of the center. Creepy or what? I called Public Works, right? And so I called Public Works if anybody came in, and nobody did, not even Terry. And no signs of break-ins. Now, just a random doll.
We're not talking like they seen like some shadow run
No.
across. We're not talking like somebody saying "Hey" from a room with nobody. This is a doll sitting in the middle of a building that wasn't touched for 3 days.
It wasn't touched for 3 days. And again, like stuff like that, are those the spirits lonely? So they're playing? They're trying to get people to play with them?
Do you know? I never know.
You never know. Because, you know, we do, of course, in popular culture and movies and stuff like that, you know, you got the ghost that rolls the red rubber ball to the kid to scare them, or, you know, come play with us, Danny.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like you can...
Or on, I think it's The Grudge 3,
Uh-huh.
when that little boy, he's trying to lure that girl with that potato head. Or she gives him that
Ooh,
potato head
okay.
or something like
Oh.
that.
Yeah.
You're giving me scary memories.
Still a movie I have to watch, actually. But yeah, so no, I just think that's fascinating because, I think, Edna, you were kind of telling us a little bit of a story about kids playing hide and seek or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Is that something you want to share here, or?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
But this place takes...
What?
This takes place in Little Chicago. This was back when there used to be lots of houses down there before the flood happened, and the creosote contamination. A lot of houses had to be torn down because of all of that. But before that, it was very lively down there. There was little neighborhoods, I guess you could say.
There's a
And
baseball diamond down there.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was very lively. There was that community center down there as well.
Right.
And but anyways, I was with my biological mother and my 2 younger sisters, and she was going to go visit her friends that lived down there, and it was her friend's daughter's birthday party, and so that's why we tagged along. And when we got there, it was around 4, 5, 6ish in the evening. It was still the sun was still up, but it was you can tell it was setting. It was kind of orange out.
Right.
And we ended up staying there till really late. I'd say probably 11:30 or midnight.
Oh, so dark.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we were there till it was really, really dark. And I remembered when it got closer to I don't know, 10 o'clock maybe. We were playing with all the kids and the birthday girl and whatnot. And that's when my biological mother told us to sit with her at the table. We're going to get going soon. And she was like, it's starting to get really late. I don't want you guys running around. And something's going to play with you guys. You guys need to settle down now. And so me and my sisters, we had to sit at the table with her. But the other kids were like, well, let's just go and keep playing. And they were saying that they wanted to go play hide and seek, and they were getting all amped up for it. And the birthday girl's grandma ended up hearing them, and she was telling them, you don't play that game outside, and you don't play it at night. Something's going to be playing with you. And,
Yeah.
and so they were like, oh, okay, we won't play it. But they ended up going outside anyway and playing it. There was a bunch of them. And a few minutes, they weren't even outside, not even a few minutes, and the birthday girl, she comes running back into the house, and she's screaming and crying and wailing, and she's really freaking out, and they're kind of wondering what's wrong, what happened. And she said that when she went to go hide, she kind of looked around her after a few minutes, and she noticed there was a pale little boy sitting next to her.
Ooh, okay.
And
Whoa.
she didn't recognize him. Nobody, there was no other little kid like that around there.
Pale?
Yeah, she said that he looked really, I don't know. Well, at that time, because she was just a little girl, she just described it as he was white.
Yeah.
He had white skin or something like that, and he had dark eyes, and he was just sitting there with her. And yeah, she got up and she just went straight running into the house, and same thing, her brother and the other kids came running in after her saying what's wrong, what happened? And
Yeah.
and then she told her grandma what she's seen, and then their grandma started getting mad at all of them. That's why I told you guys not to be playing that game at night and things like that. And that's when my biological mom told me and my sisters, okay, we better get going. And we were kind of really creeped out. We didn't want to go out to the car because it was really late. And
Yeah.
so we ended up running back to the car, but my mom's car was like a fish bowl, so it was just freaky, the drive home.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Pale, that sounds almost like you're describing a lifeless look.
Mm-hmm.
Almost what you're describing there, and that kind of creeped me out. I'm not gonna lie, just sitting there too.
And there wasn't much boys there. There was her brother and maybe one other boy. There was nobody else that, well, from what she described how he looked, like there was nobody that looked like that.
Yeah, really though. And like on the reserve.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah, so like spirits that like to play, you know, and I know we're told not to engage or anything like that. Or actually, here's one. I'm changing topics. Sorry. I just this story came into my head. So same friend that I was talking about earlier with the face in the window. Well, he was living in the States for a period of time, and his mom was living here in Siksika. And so he was fast asleep, and all of a sudden, he's woken up by his mom calling his name. And he's like, it's like she was right here, and I was so shocked. What is she doing in Montana? When did she drive up? She didn't say she was coming to visit. That's not just something that you just hop in your car and, you know, drive like whatever, 12 hours to get there. And
That's a long way.
and he said, I forget exactly the details, but I'm pretty sure he said, and I didn't answer it because you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to respond. And then I've heard these creepy stories where it's like somebody's knocking on the door and they're like, it's me, it's Edna, it's Edna. Let me in. And it's like, door's open, come on in, Edna. No, I need you to let me in. Open the door for me. And then like knocking, and it's like, yeah, it's a spirit. What do they call those though? I thought there was a name.
Mimic.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they mimic, hey?
You don't see a lot of that in pop culture, which I find interesting. We should make a horror movie, the three of us.
Beautiful.
Based on all these stories that we've told. But yeah, no, that really creeps me out. That really, really creeps me out because like if that was me and it was my grandma lives in Calgary, I would be like, what the heck? Like, Grandma, why are you at my house? You've never even been here before yet. So
that's the other thing.
I don't know what I would do. I guess I would just go into my bedroom or put in my earphones and just try and drown it out until it stops. But do you know how scared I would be to like open my door again? Like, I wouldn't leave my house for the rest of the day. I'd probably just wait till the next day that I have to go to work and be like, forget it. I'm crawling out the back window.
And they do say, like, when stuff like that happens, like, something gets mimicked, or they're like, hey, Shilo, help me.
Yeah.
Shilo, help me. I'm over here. It's like, if something's, like, yelling at you like that, and you know it's not who you think it is, or you know it's not real, we are taught to, like, be like, get out of here. Go away. You gotta get mad at it. And, like, usually
you're not welcome here.
Yeah, that type of ordeal, and like it's like getting taught that it's tough to say. Like, you never know if it is someone asking for help or someone you know asking for help, and like especially if it's someone you know, and it's like it's someone like really random too. Like, let's say I'm just camping and I hear you in the trees and like, hey Marcus, hey, come over here.
That would be so
just come over
creepy,
here,
man.
Like, no context, and I'm like, Shilo lives in Strathmore or in the city, or like it's just weird. It's
really weird.
The mimics is just scary and weird.
That kind of reminds me of when me and my cousin Alicia, we heard a man calling us, and I mean, same thing. Guess we shouldn't have been playing outside at night, but we were like,
kids will be kids.
16, 17 when this happened.
Teenagers will be teenagers.
Yeah. And, she had one of those four-wheelers. I think it's called a Rhino or a Gator or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And
Rhino.
I'm pretty sure there's one called like that. But anyways, she had one, and it had like headlights and everything. So she was like, let's go ride around in the field and behind her dad's house, my uncle. And so I was like, okay. And those things, they're really loud when they're driving. Like me and her, we couldn't even talk because it was just so loud.
Aren't those engines like, like
Yeah, it's like really loud.
full on
Like
tractor?
yeah, like that kind of sound. And as we were driving through all those fields, it was just dark. The only light that was around there is headlights. And I guess I also should mention that my uncle's house at that time, there is a house next door to him, but nobody was living in there at that time. He was the only house right there, and it's kind of secluded because it's along the back road going to Stobart from behind West Gleason.
Okay.
And he lives right near those train tracks. And so, yeah, at that time, they were the only ones living in that area. And there is houses around there, but they're very far, like scattered kind of. And so, yeah, that house next door was empty. And anyways, back to when we were riding around in the field, both of us heard like whistling, like a human like whistling at us or something. Like,
And they say not to whistle at night.
yeah, and like
Always get in trouble for that.
yeah, and I kind of thought like, well, maybe that's just the wind like going against like the vehicle or something. But this whistle, it was so loud, it was almost like as if it was like right next to our ears. And so when we finally pulled back into her house, I just asked her, I was like, did you hear that whistling? And she was like, I was gonna ask you if you heard that too. And then here, not even a few minutes after that, we just heard a man calling us saying, hey, what are you guys doing? And
Oh boy.
and then she just kind of looked over there and like towards that empty house. And
Nobody over there.
yeah, and she just kind of looked at me. She was like, okay, it's time to go inside. And I
Yeah.
just looked at her and I was like,
Agreed.
well, I mean, at that time I didn't know nobody lived there. So I was like, well, maybe it's like the neighbor or something. She was like, no, it's time to get inside. Let's go inside. As soon as we got in there, she was like, nobody lives there. And I just looked at her. I was like, what do you mean? She was like, there's nobody supposed to be outside over there.
Was it just pitch black over
It,
there?
yeah, it was pitch black. Like, because the only outside light was my uncle's house. And
Oh, gee.
and so, yeah, we heard that man saying, hey, what are you guys doing? And it just sounded like a normal man voice. And my uncle, he looked at us. He was like, what's wrong? What are you guys doing? You guys done? And that's when I was like, we heard a man calling us, and then we heard whistling. And he's like, oh, you guys don't be scared of that. There's nothing out there. And so he went outside with us. He was like, I'll stand out here. You guys just ride around. It's okay. But my cousin she was too scared.
She's too scared.
But me, I was
I'm like,
I was already ready to just go back out there. I just told her, okay, let's just go back out there. Your dad's out there. We'll be okay. She was like, no, Edna, that didn't sound right. And she was like, I don't know.
Probably sounded too clear.
Yeah, it was really clear because like we shut off the engine. And then that's when I asked her, did you hear that whistling? And she was like, I was going to ask you if you heard that. And then next thing all we heard was a man saying, hey, what are you guys doing? And
Boy, that gave me chills. I've just got chills like this whole show. Yeah, I'm not gonna sleep good tonight. Who knows? Maybe I will. Maybe this is what I needed for a good night's sleep. Marcus, do you have any other stories or?
Honestly, that one with the mimicking, it's happened to me before actually. Like, and this is like I'm not talking like this is actually near around where you live when I went to visit.
Okay.
Me and my cousin Madden, we heard something mimicking, and this is coming from like a coolie.
Oh yeah.
At night.
Behind our house, it's nothing but cliffs.
Yeah.
Because we live across the river. So if you're driving towards Arrowwood and you see like houses just right on the cliff above, that's our area. So we kind of have to go all the way around to get to our house, or we can take the canal road.
Okay.
That's right next to the Blue Bridge.
Yeah.
And so like it's a very secluded area that you have to get to. So behind our house, it's just nothing but cliffs and coulees.
Jeez.
And there's that coulee there. It's a spring, right? If I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah, I'm
mistaken.
pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, and we used to go down there during the day. It's beautiful. It's nice. It's a really nice area. But once it turns nighttime, and every now and then we me and Madden kind of broke the rules, and we'd walk around at night. And
Oh yeah.
not right into the field, but like we'd stay close to the house and everything. But there
Yeah.
was times where we hear there's nothing really specific we heard, but it's more of like just a voice, different voices too, and everything. And it's like it goes to say that mimicking it's true. I believe it the mimicking, but I've never ever heard anything like
Oh, hey?
on the lines of, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" Like
Mhm.
that creeps me out.
Yeah, that really tripped me out because I was just kind of like, who is that? And when she just kept telling me, we need to get inside. And as soon as we got inside, that's when she told me, there's nobody out there. And she was like, nobody lives over there. And I was like,
Creepy.
oh, okay. And I just kind
But
of,
you weren't really too phased by it.
yeah, I kind of got like, ew, like,
It's like,
but if
really?
it's nothing, like, if your dad's going to be outside with us, let's just go. But,
Yeah, there's nothing
like,
to worry about. Let's just
Yeah.
have
But-
fun.
but then again, me, I don't really get creeped out by this kind of stuff. It takes something like, not saying like I need like a poltergeist or whatever to freak me out,
Or
but
the
like,
nun to be at the
yeah,
hall.
Yeah.
like, I don't know what it is, but I just don't get scared by these things. Like, it just kind of, it gives me like a feeling of like, did that really just happen? Like, did I really hear that, or did I really see that? Like, going back to like everything that me and Drew have experienced together, you know, we still ask each other like what other, like, we've tried to come up with other explanations as to things that we've seen and things
Yeah.
that we've heard, but it all comes back down to it like, wow, like, that really happened. Like, ew, like, we really heard that, we really seen that. And there's just no other outcome that,
Can't explain it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't
When
really
you've
explain
exhausted
it.
all of the other logical explanations, it's ghosts.
Mhm. And like me, like I'm always gonna be a believer in like the spirit world, and you know,
yeah.
our neighbors like Bigfoot and little people and like mermaids, all of that stuff. Like, I've always been a firm believer that they are out there, and that, you know, I always believe that too, that we just shouldn't bother them. If they want to make themselves known to us, then so be it, but I always believe that we should not bother them.
Leave them alone.
Let them
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
That's why I've never ever been to the sand hills. Like
Oh,
like
yeah.
people, like, they'll just go for drives out there and stuff like that, but me, I've never wanted to just go out there just for a drive or just to see. Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like that's kind of an area that, you know, I'm not going to bother it, so it won't bother me.
No, exactly.
Oh yes.
And yeah, that's another interesting thing. Haunted locations, you know, it's like, and I'm not saying that sandhills are haunted, but there's a lot of spirituality that goes on over there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got its history. So yeah, like, leave those spirits alone. We don't need to be bothering them, and people don't need to be going out there anticipating or looking to get spooked.
Mm-hmm.
That's just disrespectful, in my opinion, and sort of a stupid move, because you don't know what could attach itself to you. You don't know what you could be getting yourself into, because we don't understand this other plane of existence. We don't understand fully spirits and ghosts and things like that. So,
Mhm.
you know, leave them alone.
Yeah.
We're not
Exactly.
meant to understand, too. That's my point, too. Is we're not meant to understand. When the time comes when we're meant to understand, that time will come.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, you know, leave it alone. If it encounters you, then it does.
Yeah. And then speaking of like haunted locations, when the old Crowfoot residential school was still standing, they had built the day school so that they wouldn't have to utilize the residential school building no more.
Right.
So there was just two buildings next to each other, the old residential school and the new day school. And this happened to my late mom when she was a little girl, starting at the day school. Whatchamacallit, I guess the day school, it had ended up getting too full, like with students and teachers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so they decided, well, we can utilize some of the classrooms in the residential school building.
Okay.
And her class was one of them. And it was only just for the time being, I guess.
Yeah.
And she told me that in that old residential school building, there's an old chapel downstairs, and you can see the stairs going down to it. And their classroom doors, they were like big, heavy doors with like a small window on it.
Okay.
And so, yeah, her and her classmates, I guess one day, wait, how does it go again? Yeah, she said that it was just her class and the teacher using the building that one day, and her and her classmates would see a nun walking down to the chapel, and she would shut the door when she'd get down there. And one day she just asked her teacher, "Who's that lady that goes to the chapel all the time?" And her teacher asked her, "What lady? There's nobody else here but us." And I guess her classmate ended up saying, "That lady, she walks by our door and she goes down to the chapel and we see her all the time." And then the teacher, she never seen anybody there. She said, "I'm the only adult here with you guys." And they said, "No, she walks by our door. We've seen her a few times."
Wow.
And so that's when...
And she's probably too busy teaching.
Yeah, and when at that moment when they told her, "We see her walk by the door," the teacher just so happened to look at the door, and that nun walked by the window.
No way.
And so that's when that teacher and the class, like, the class realized that the teacher was, like, freaked out.
Yeah.
And so they started getting scared because they must have realized, like, is that a ghost
They
or
seen
something?
Hey,
But,
right?
yeah, like, and so she was just starting day school, so she was only, like, 4 or 5 years old. And
Yeah.
they say that because at that age you're still so connected to the spirit world, you're still entering the physical world. Oh, my God.
Folks, we're having some technical issues here. It might be the spirits, actually.
They're like, "Quit talking about me." Jokes.
Yeah. So we're going to take a quick break here. And
We're sorry if you were enjoying that.
yes, but we'll be back. Thank you for listening and stay tuned. Well, good evening, folks. We are back with Marcus, Edna, and Shilo and the spooky midnight spooktacular on a buttery flaky crust. Okay. If you know, you know. Anyways, so Edna, you were in the middle of a story that you were telling us, and then we had our technical issues, but we're back. Did you want to conclude your story?
I think your story was around the area. We were talking about the old boarding school that was built beside the old residential school on the east side.
Yeah.
And you were mentioning a nun going up and down the stairs to a chapel?
Yeah.
Something along there, yeah.
Yeah, I just can't remember where the technical difficulties started, but I'm pretty sure I already made it known that
The teacher
my mom
had
and
just seen
okay,
the
yeah.
ghost,
Oh,
or
yes.
the nun, yeah.
Yeah, the kids were asking her, like, "Who's that lady that is always going down to the chapel? We see her walk down those stairs and she closes the door behind her." And the teacher was confused, and she was saying that she's the only adult in the building with them, and that there's nobody else here but us. And that's when the other little kids were saying that they seen her too, and that she walks by their classroom door, and they see her walk by because of that little window that's on the door.
Right.
And so when the teacher looked towards the door, that's when that nun had walked by. And when she seen it, that's when she kind of got all scared, and the kids, they noticed that she was scared, and so they just ran to the day school building, and she was telling the principal and them that, you know, she doesn't want to work in there no more. The
Rightfully
kids are
so.
getting scared, and the kids are seeing something in there. And yeah, I guess eventually the principal and like custodian, maintenance, whoever, they did go into the old residential school building, and when they tried to open up the chapel, it was locked.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they needed like a key to like actually open it, and when they did
So-
open it, it was like abandoned. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't in use anymore, anything like that.
And that's
Yeah.
creepy because you're saying that she opened the door and then closed the door to get into the chapel.
I
Yeah.
was about to say, like, so the door was locked.
Mhm.
That's the whoa. That's what creeps me out. That part.
Yeah, my mom was only about like 4 or 5 years old when this happened, and if she were still alive right now, she would be probably in her 60s. So I'm sure there's people around the reserve that know what I'm talking about in her age group, and they
Yeah.
probably remember, and maybe they don't, and maybe they kind of blocked it out from happening. But I remember when my mom told me that story.
And that's so weird too because it was such a common occurrence that the kids just thought, who's this lady?
Oh, she's going downstairs to pray.
Mhm.
Who's this lady that always goes downstairs? And it's like, wow.
Wasn't real. Like, oh, the door was locked. It was abandoned. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and I guess like she even looked like how a nun would look, like old-fashioned clothing, like pale. I don't know, like.
Creepy. And then they made the movie The Nun. Oh my gosh.
Scary movie, by the way.
Scary movie, by the way. Yes, yes.
I had a nightmare about her one time.
Oh gosh, actually, you bring that up. Remember I was mentioning that I've never been haunted before?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Well, this happened like literally a few nights ago. Maybe in anticipation for our podcast or something. I don't know. But I had a dream that I was getting haunted. And I kept saying, I rebuke you in the name of the Lord. You're not welcome here. And the weird thing is that it was a vivid dream. It was like a lucid dream. So I knew I was dreaming.
Yeah.
I knew what to say. It was really strange because it's like I was there. It wasn't like a dream where it's like a movie playing in front of your face. It's like, no, I was actively telling this ghost, basically, get the heck out of my dream, if anything. And what I remember is like, yeah, I was like moving. I have a TV tray that I eat my supper on. I live alone, so sue me. And so, yeah, I got this TV tray. And so that's what it was, moving it in my dream, and it was like sliding it across the floor and whatnot. And yeah, and then so I just remember telling it to leave. I rebuke it in the name of the Lord. And so yeah, I guess I haven't been haunted, but my dreams have been. So that's a little creepy too when you think about it.
Dreams could be scary. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, mine. When I did dream of like the nun Valak or whatever her name is,
Yeah.
it was in a residential school setting.
It was.
Yeah.
That's
I remember we went to go sleep at my in-laws that night, and I remember telling my father-in-law about it the next day, because it just like it's one of those dreams where you wake up and it kind of like it really kind of bothers you, like you just
Yeah.
can't brush it off, and you just have to tell
You're in
someone what
shock.
happened. Yeah, because
Yeah.
like honestly, the way the setting was is I was in a room and I was hiding under these beds. There was a bunch of beds in this room, and the lights were dark, and those beds looked like really old-fashioned white, like metal bar beds kind of thing. And they were all in a row, and I remember I just felt like I had to hide or something. And similar to the door in my mom's story with a window on it, it was slightly bigger. And when I was hiding under that bed, I remember peeking out, and I seen Valak walk next to that window, walk
Yeah.
by. And then, like, I remember in my dream, I knew that was that nun from that movie. Like, it's like I was so aware in my dream what was going on. And I remember it was a residential school setting, the way it felt, the way everything looked. Like, you see pictures of residential schools, like the beds and the doors and all of that, and that's exactly how it looked in my dream. And the lights were off, and the only light that was in my dream was in the hallway, and it was just like a dim kind of yellow light at each end of the hall.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so I remember I just kept seeing her walk by, like as if she was looking for someone or doing a night check-in, or I don't know. But when I seen that, it just kind of like it made me feel weird. And so I told my father-in-law about it the next day, and he was telling me, well, maybe in a way of you had a vision, and it's no secret how the nuns and priests were back in the day, so that maybe I envisioned the nun in that way because of the evil presence that they carried back then.
Yeah, totally.
And so I was like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. But I just kind of always wondered, why Valak? Like,
yeah, right.
If you watch The Conjuring or The Nun or anything like that, that nun in that series is, I've watched The Nun, both of them, and The Conjuring. That's a pretty scary looking nun.
Yeah,
like, that's a nun.
I mean, as nuns come, pretty scary.
Mm-hmm.
I think most nuns look kind of scary, but that's just a me thing, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Sister Act. Sister Act is
Oh.
fun.
Yeah. You bet.
Gee. Well, folks, I think that brings us to the end of our spooky evening, spooktacular ghost story, Hullapalooza. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in and joining us. This has been a remarkable time. I think we've all had so much fun sharing these stories and, dolling out the frights here and there. So I want to thank you all, and I hope you all have a good evening and happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, guys. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you.
Yep. Happy Halloween, everybody. Stay safe.
Take care now.